Hi there everyone and welcome back to Minerva. I'm Annie.
And I'm Gavin.
And this week we're here to talk to you about episode 6 of the Great British Sewing Bee, which was Kids Week. Now if you haven't watched the episode yet, pop us on pause, head over to BBC iPlayer and catch up with the episode because we will be sharing some spoilers of what happened. So before we jump into the episode, Gavin, what are you wearing this week?
Thank you very much for asking, Annie. Today I am wearing, this is the Sanders button-up shirt, and this is a PDF pattern from LB Textiles. I like this one for the little integrated
really
kind of
nice,
hidden
though.
pockets and an extra placket. And this one I've sewn up in our Minerva exclusive collaboration with Tammy Handmade. So this is her Charming Checks print in blue, and this is in our crisp cotton poplin. And it's almost like I knew, because I did poppers this time rather than buttons. So these are some Prim colour snaps, which I applied just with the Prim Love pliers.
Mm-hmm. They're almost a perfect match for the colour.
Aren't they lovely? Yeah.
Nice.
Couldn't have asked for better. Yeah. And how about yourself?
Well, I wore some dungarees in the spirit of the episode. So these are the Tilly and the Buttons Erin dungarees. And this is a really great pattern because you can make it in stretch fabrics, you can make it in woven fabrics. So for this pair, I went for our Ponte Roma in the Urban Cheetah print.
Those look so comfortable.
They're so comfy. They are the comfiest things. It feels like you're wearing pyjamas.
I was going to say, secret pyjamas, tick.
Yeah.
And I love the Ponte Roma fabric as well. I love the kind of slightly texture that it gives to it.
And it's not too thick, but it's just thick enough that it's comfy and warm and yeah.
Who doesn't want to be comfy and cosy? So we kick things off in Kids Week with an adaptive pattern, which I think is the first time they've done something specifically adaptive on the sewing bee.
I don't remember seeing it before.
So this time round, they asked makers to create an adaptive pair of dungarees for a child, and they gave them 4 hours to make the pattern, which I thought was... It seemed like a decent amount of time this time.
Generous considering what they have been given them.
Yes, so I feel like, okay, they're being acceptable this time. And we had a guest judge this time round, which was Victoria Jenkins, who is an adaptive fashion pioneer. She's a disability rights campaigner. So I think it was really interesting getting her insight in how to make clothes more suitable for people with disabilities.
Yeah.
So they talked about using the kind of right fabrics to have the right sensory experience for people, making things easier to get on and off for people who have discomfort or in a wheelchair or have prosthetic limbs. So yeah, I thought there was a lot of elements going on in this one.
Yeah.
How did you find it?
I thought it was really interesting that they've kind of taken sort of a pattern that you associate with kids and adults, which is dungarees, but then just made these quite simple changes really to make them accessible for everybody really. Like they just added a little bit of elastic in the shoulder straps and then that placket with the poppers. So it wasn't major changes to a pattern, but I think it just shows that making simple changes can allow everyone to, like Yasmin said, have the autonomy to be able to get dressed.
I think that was almost the point that they were making, is that making clothes more inclusive doesn't need to be difficult.
Yeah.
It doesn't require a lot just to make things a little bit more thoughtful. But I thought what it did add was a few specifically technical points in this one. So the judges were certainly looking for really good insertion of that elastic over the top shoulders. They were looking for perfect fitting of those poppers and those plackets in the legs. And they were also looking for great top stitching around that pocket as well. Yeah. So, but I will say this was definitely an episode where all the makers did really well. And they were really splitting hairs to try and pick between them.
Yeah, they all did really well on this challenge. There was nobody who seemed to be kind of running out time too much or rushing too much at the end. You know, there was a little bit of panic, but
there's always a bit of panic.
There's always a bit of panic, but there was no one who had like an unfinished garment or anything.
Yeah. So which one stood out for you?
I really thought Kaz's one was really cute. So she had this like light blue needle cord with this cute little giraffe print. which I thought was just a super fun fabric for a child. Like, what kid doesn't like giraffes? There's probably one out there, but and I thought she'd sewn it quite neatly. And yeah, I just thought it was a really nice fabric, because they did kind of mention as well about picking the right kind of fabric that's going to make it fun for a child.
Yeah, I thought that was really interesting. Like Esme said, oh, well, prints are fun for kids. And I'm like,
prints are fun for adults.
Prints are fun. Why? Show more prints.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think they all picked some nice fabrics.
Yeah.
I thought hers was just super cute. I felt bad for Kaz in this challenge because she made literally one mistake, which was sewing her placket on the inside rather than the outside of one of the pattern pieces, but she sewed it really
well. Other than that, I thought they were very nitpicky on.
Yeah,
that.
I feel like they went from that criteria of, okay, well, she didn't follow the pattern exactly, so because you didn't follow the pattern, we're right at the bottom.
Yeah,
that was very harsh.
I thought it was harsh because the poppers did still go together and everything. It was just that little piece of fabric was.
I feel like it was
side.
Better sewn than some of the others.
Yeah,
but I understand the criteria.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, they were all so close. It kind of had to be nitpicky, really.
So I think one that I kind of loved the look of was Dan's.
Yeah.
He went for the black and white checkerboard print because, checks are in this season.
Yes.
And with the kind of yellow detail that he'd picked with it, I thought worked really nicely. But he, I think, rushed a bit too much early on.
Yeah.
Just eyeballed his popper placement and then they didn't line up properly, which is kind of really frustrating because then he ended up with enough time at the end to make a hat.
Yeah.
It's like, that's lovely, Dan. They're not going to give you extra points for a hat.
Yeah, and I think his straps were a little bit too wide for the dungaree clips. Like, they did fit in, but you could see he had to kind of stuff them through.
A few of them had that issue, I think, where the straps were a bit too wide and then there was like a step from the width of those to the width of the elastic.
Yeah.
So I think Gaynor had a similar issue with her elastic. But I think hers was cute in a floral needle cord. A few of them went for kind of floral prints, which I think were lovely. And certainly needle cord fabric is perfect.
Needle cord's
for that
great
kind
because
of...
it's durable, but it's comfy to wear as well. It feels quite soft. It's not too rough.
Yeah, so there were some lovely options there. Any others that you really loved the look of?
I really liked Orla's. I thought she went for a super fun fabric. I wasn't a fan of her blank face when the guest judge mentioned Saved by the Bell. Like, she's
a bit too young for that.
But I thought it was a really fun fabric. Definitely something I would have loved to have worn as a child. And I loved the kind of rainbow fabric that she had for the placket. So even though it wasn't super visible, it's like that fun little extra. I know Dan was obviously eyeing up that rainbow fabric as well.
I mean, I like that a lot of them thought about, well, what's going to be fun for a kid?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought Stuart's was maybe one of the least fun ones. I think his was a slightly brown needle cord, floral print. The sewing was great, but it's like, make it more exciting.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if anyone gets big kid energy, it's Kit. Kit clearly enjoyed this week. And they went for a really kind of wild, abstract, geometric canvas. There was so much going on in there, but it was fun.
Yeah, and I think I liked how they'd kind of remembered the comments from last week about those different coloured poppers and done it again this week. They're really getting the brownie points with the judges.
But it works in that kind of thing. But then the guest judge also kind of commented how you don't necessarily want the adaptive elements to stand out on a garment, and really complimented Gaynor for the way her orange press studs really blended in with the fabric. So it was interesting seeing a kind of different takes on it and how it all played out.
So another really nice floral design that I really liked was Yasmin's. I think it was kind of a bit brighter of a floral design than some of the other ones, and I just thought it was really neatly sewn. The judges couldn't really fault her on it.
picked up on was it the top stitching didn't go quite to the top?
Yeah, there was something really nitpicky, but I think other than that it was...
But yeah, this was definitely one of those episodes where they were splitting hairs, and I think from the top to number 7, I don't really think there was that much in it.
No.
And even though cows came right at the bottom, I don't feel like they were holding anything too much against it.
No, it was only a little silly mistake. I think it was interesting because Kids Week can be one of those weeks where people kind of fall apart, I think, because they're just not used to sewing.
Well, I think maybe we saw some of that more in the made to measure.
Maybe in the more made to measure, but I thought the pattern challenge this week, it really shows that the competition's really heating up now.
Yes.
Everyone's kind of on a similar skill level of sewing. And
yeah.
I think from now on it's going to be really... The judges are going to have to really pick up on these tiny
I also
things.
think that after this particular pattern challenge, where it was so close, I wouldn't be surprised if we start seeing a little bit more time shaved off for the next couple, just to put them under more pressure.
Yeah.
Now, one of the things that they really focused on with this pattern challenge was press studs, snap fasteners, and I love snap fasteners. I think they're a fun way of mixing things up. It's an opportunity to do something a little bit different to a button and a buttonhole. Also, if you're a bit scared of your buttonhole options on your sewing machine, or maybe your sewing machine doesn't always play nice with you, snap fasteners can sometimes be a good alternative. They also pop dead easily for like easy access. They're great for that adaptability. Now, these ones, as I said, I put on with the prim pliers.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, it did hurt my wrist a bit because I have some issues with my hand, and I'm sure a lot of other people have that.
Yeah.
So what they used on the show was the Prim Vario Creative Tool, which we have here at Minerva. And this literally does exactly the same function as the pliers, but what it does is all you have to do is kind of press down on it. So it really takes away kind of those issues that you might have with kind of dexterity.
Yeah.
So I think it was nice that that's almost an adaptive thing that they put in place for the actual contestants. So it then kind of creates a level playing ground for them, because whether someone has any dexterity issues or not, this then allows them to place those perfectly. Yes. So I thought that was a nice touch.
I thought it was nice, and I think it'd be really great for kind of more heavy duty fabrics. So again, when you're making dungarees in like cotton canvas, cotton twill, I've only tried to do press studs once. Don't know why I tried to do my first press studs on a cotton twill, but I messed it up, and as you will know, once you've messed that press stud up, you cannot get it out.
That is the one thing with press studs. You want to take your time and make sure you're getting them right, because if you rush it and you get them wrong, you're not getting those off easily.
No, and I didn't even have a proper pair of pliers. I had it all came as a kit, and I was supposed to hammer something in, and I was like, oh no, this is
the pliers, the tools. They definitely help.
Definitely something where I've realised you actually do need the right tools for the job.
Yes. So this time around, we've picked out a selection of different patterns that we thought might be good if you want to try making some dungarees for your little ones. So first of all, we've picked out Burda 9337. Now this one is just an adorable little set. It's intended for jersey and knit fabrics, so it's going to be super comfy. It's got that added stretch to it. And we've also got a sew-along of this pattern, and this is our little sample that's made up in our Minerva exclusive Chromatic Fizz French Terry. And what I think is so cute about this pattern is there's this elastic strap at the back. So like the adaptive modifications they made on the sewing bee, this is going to make it extra comfortable. It also gives you that little bit of additional growing room, which, if you're making something for a toddler, is always going to be worthwhile, because you're going to get a little bit more use out of it. So I think if you want a knit pattern, Burda 9337, fab option to start with.
So the next pattern we've picked out, I think, is a bit more similar to the one they actually used on the show. So it's McCall's 8489. And it's this kind of more traditional dungarees pattern. You've got a shorts option, so that'd be a nice option for summer. And it comes in 2 size ranges. So there's the children's size, which is kind of aged 3 to 6. And then there's like an older children's size, which goes from 7 to up to age 14. So
and I love
really
that you've got
great.
even that little pinafore
Yeah,
dress
even a little
option.
pinafore dress, really cute. You've got loads of little pockets on here for kids to stick whatever kids have.
Sweets, frogs,
stones.
Yeah, all of that.
All the little treasures that they like to keep. So yeah, I think that'd be a really fab, durable pattern if you made it in like a cotton twill or something really great for kind of play and things, or the rough and tumble that kids like to do.
And then we have one third option for you, which I just think this is such a fun pattern. So this is the Style Arc puddle suit. And this is a dungaree little kind of jumpsuit pattern, but it's very much intended for waterproof fabrics so that you can literally slip on some cute little wellies and go splashing around in the puddles, which I think is just adorable. So this one, again, you've got adjustable elastic straps, you've got the option of buckles there, you've got a kangaroo patch pocket at the front, and you've got stirrup legs with elastic casings, so you can slip those inside your wellies, and in the right fabric this would be completely waterproof. So if you wanted to do this one in specifically waterproof fabric, then something like our Minerva core range stretch woven soft shell would be what you'd want for that one. So this soft shell is such an interesting fabric. It's got a water resistant outer, so it makes it fantastic for jackets, for a little puddle suit like this. A little romper for kids would be fantastic in this. But then on the inside, you've got this lovely soft fleece back coating. It's like wearing a sweatshirt.
It's so soft.
It's so soft, it's so cuddly. It's going to be really nice and warm. So it's just a lovely option. And I think it's a great fabric for kind of those transitional months. It's kind of a spring, autumn fabric. It's so versatile. I think this is fantastic. So if you were going to take on this pattern challenge, what fabrics would you be angling towards?
Well, like I said before, I really loved Orla's kind of spotty rainbow kind of fabric. So I've picked out our Minerva exclusive cotton denim twill in the neon disco print. So it's this really fab print. It's a really lovely fabric because it's durable, it's got this twill weave, but it's not too stiff, it's still got a lot of movement, it's not too heavy, so it's not going to feel like a too restrictive pair of dungarees. But yeah, I think it'd be nice and durable, so they're not going to get holes in it and stuff. And then for the plackets, again inspired by Orla, I would go for this lovely, nice lightweight poly cotton in this rainbow fabric.
Oh, see, Dan would be loving that.
Dan would be loving it. We've got enough for everybody, so you don't need to fight over this one. We've got plenty. So I think that'd be cute for kind of the plackets, maybe the pocket lining.
Oh, yeah.
Nice little secret rainbow for kids.
That'd be lovely.
What would you sew your dungarees in?
Well, we saw a lot of the makers this time working with needle cord, which I think, as you say, it's a really nice option for, I think, a lot of kids wear, because it's soft, it's flexible, but it's durable. Yeah. That kind of, the needle cord, all those wales in it, just give it an extra level of rigidity. So I've picked out a couple of options, and maybe I could mix and match between these because I like a matchy. So first of all, this is our Minerva core range 21 wale needle cord. If all the talk of wales confuses anyone on cord, it's just a measurement of how many ridges are within a single inch. So the higher the wale count, the kind of finer the fabric. Yeah. So with a needle cord, you're looking at something, usually it's kind of like 16 up. Yeah. If it's something like a 5-6 wale, and that's going to be super chunky.
Yeah, that's kind of more like a jumbo cord, we'd call it.
Yeah, so that's great for other things, I think, not for this. So I think this one would be lovely, and it's really quite lightweight, but would make still that quite durable. But I do love a print. So I was drawn to this slightly 70s vibe, and this is one of our Little Johnny cotton needle cord designs.
So soft.
It's so soft, but I love the fact that that would feel so nice
Yeah,
against the
even
skin.
the other side feels
Yeah,
even softer.
which I
somehow.
think for kids wear is so
Yeah.
important, and it's 100% cotton, and we've got quite a lovely range of different little Johnny needle cords, but I think this one, I just love the mix of colours in it. I think that would look super cute,
Yeah,
and what kid wouldn't want to wear that?
I would have.
And then lastly, when we're talking about the pattern challenge, I thought we'd have to talk about the amazing range of adaptive patterns that Simplicity have introduced over the past couple of years. So within the regular Simplicity range, you'll find a number of patterns with the Sewn Adaptive brand on them. And these have all been designed by Lynn Branley, who's also one of our makers here at Minerva. And they give different options which for patterns that have been built with adaptability and different disabilities in mind. So we've got lots of different options on site. We've picked out just a couple of them. So Simplicity 3020 is a pair of adaptive jeans which are completely unisex. They've been designed with kind of wheelchair users in mind. So you've got accessible zipper options on both sides of the jeans, so they'll make it easier and more comfortable to get them off. So there's no front zip to make it more comfortable. You've got optional invisible zipper access, so if someone has like a leg bag, a stoma, prosthetics that need access for, then it's just giving you so many more options, but you're still getting that kind of fashion look of a pair of jeans, which I think is really thoughtful. That it doesn't look like it's been specifically made.
It just looks like all the other clothes that are available in ready-to-wear shops and things. I think that's really.
And this one it's made for US sizes 34 to 52. So that is kind of waist measurements 28 to 48 inches. So you've got a decent range there to go at as well.
Yeah. And then the other pattern we've got is from the same range, so from the Sewn Adaptive range, and this is a jacket. So this is Simplicity 3019. And the main option with this jacket is you've got this kind of curved back bit, which is just going to make it more comfortable for someone who is seated. It's not going to bunch up behind their back. You've also got different closure options, so you can have snaps, you can have buttons, you can even have like magnets, which would just literally pop together. There's it's a lot baggier on the sleeves as well, so if someone is using a wheelchair, they've got more movement in their arms. And this pattern comes in sizes extra small to extra large, so they're kind of the European sizes. So quite a good range of sizes for that one as well.
So there's lots more Sewn Adaptive patterns on site. So if you do a search for #Sewn Adaptive, you'll find all of those here at Minerva.
So now onto the transformation challenge, and this week the sewers were challenged with turning maternity wear into play clothes for a toddler. And they were allowed to take to 4 pieces of maternity wear.
Which seemed generous.
Which seemed a lot, considering they're taking an adult size clothing and making it for I don't know what size a toddler is, but they're not that big.
Toddler size.
They are a bit bigger than that. And they were allowed to take trims as well. And Patrick and Esme said that they hope they use some of the prints in the fabrics, because again, they mentioned prints are fun for a kid to wear. They're fun for adults to wear too. So what did you think of this challenge?
I don't know if they almost set them a trap with this one.
Yeah.
Well, by giving them so much to choose from, by saying you can take 4 items and all the trims, I think some of the makers took that and went crazy with it.
Yeah.
So I think if we're talking crazy, Dan.
Yes.
I love that Dan has got his own kind of perspective, and he brings that kind of performance element through to a lot of what he makes. So he was inspired to make a little pop star outfit for a toddler.
It was a very cute
which
outfit.
I thought was such a cute idea, but boy did he go crazy on the trims.
Oh, yeah.
So there was fringing trim, there was sequins, there was stuff dangling everywhere, and bless, I feel like that child is going to get caught on every hedge, every piece of furniture. Within 10 minutes, that's going to get ripped and shredded.
Yes.
So I feel like maybe didn't fit the brief perfectly in terms of usability, but it was cute.
It was cute. I think Dan had gone more down the route of kind of like a dressing up costume for a child rather than like something they could play in. I did like the cute little microphone. I did like that Esme thought it was something to hit somebody over the head with.
Of course it is, Esme.
I mean, to be fair, that is probably what a child would use it for.
Yes, probably. But yeah, that was a cute touch.
It was a cute little accessory. And yeah, I think had it been a challenge to make a costume for a child, I think that would have fitted the brief a little bit better.
It was just a little bit off brief, I thought it is, but nicely done. What if we're talking going a bit crazy with the brief, then I have to talk about Kit's. Now, Kit usually does very well on the transformation challenges, and there was one point in this one where Sarah picked up his make and was like, "Oh, Kit, this is amazing," and they should have stopped there. Yeah. And instead, it was like, right, trim, ruffle, 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 ruffle.
I think it was again. They took the 4 pieces of maternity wear and were like, okay, I need to use all 4 pieces as much as I can. And there was ruffles everywhere and it looked very crazy by the end of it.
I will say, I feel like it probably fit the brief better than Dan's in terms of you could play in it. Yeah. Kids would probably quite enjoy having all this craziness going on. But did it look good? Did it look balanced? No. No.
It looked like kind of how I would expect kids' clothes to look after they've been playing for like a good 3 or 4 hours when their hair's everywhere and things, only they would have looked like that right from the start. So maybe that's what they were going for. Just, maybe. Maybe. Their clothes are going to end up messy anyway, so let's just start them off like that.
So one that was maybe more sensible was Stuart's. So Stuart made a cute little pair of shorts, which I thought was quite nice. And then a little tunic dress to go over the top in that sunflower print. Yeah,
it was a cute print.
I think you looked at it from the front and it was like, yeah, that's quite nice. And then it got to the back and construction, I don't know what was going on there.
The zip part kind of didn't go all the way down to the hem of the top dress thing. It was all a bit weird. There was just raw edges and it was a bit strange.
Yeah, I feel like you got the impression that Stuart views the transformation challenges as something of an endurance test now. Yeah. Something that you just need to get through. And I'm not sure he got through this one unscathed.
Yeah. I think Gaynor also went down the kind of route of a bit more sensible. I think they did kind of comment that it was maybe a bit too sensible, a little bit not fun enough for a child. Yeah. But it was quite nicely sewn and things. So yeah, I think she's done a good job.
I like the little yoga pants.
Yeah.
I think those were nice. Just the floral top with the ribbon ties. It wasn't very exciting.
No. I also thought Orla's was interesting. She'd kind of used, I think it was like sleeves of a jumper or something to make a pair of tights. Yeah. Which nobody else had kind of gone down quite that route. Obviously some people have made like little leggings and things, but I thought that was really interesting how she'd taken that fabric and that was the smartest
bit of sewing. Yeah. Because literally the judges couldn't even quite work out how she'd done it, and they looked flawless. Yeah. And then to pair that up with a cute little dress on top. Yeah. I thought she did a really good job.
Yeah, it was a very cute.
And then the little finishing touch of the giraffe/llama.
Yeah. Very cute. And nice little bit of a plique on there. So Kaz, I think she had a good idea. Yeah. It was a cute little kind of pair of trousers and a jacket. Quite sensible, but still, nice colour combinations and things. But then the judges found that her mannequin didn't have any arms on it.
Which she'd squirreled away because they weren't getting over.
They weren't. Sleeves. And then when they kind of started to look at the sleeves, you could see that they were very skinny.
Very small.
I mean, you're making for a child, but I think maybe she underestimated quite how small a child was.
Yeah, I think I understood again why Kaz was in the bottom here, because what she made was unwearable as a child. Yeah. But also, it just wasn't fun enough. No. There were a couple of little patches on the trousers, but it just felt like a bit sensible.
Yeah, I think she'd gone too much down the
Yeah.
sensible route, kind of like Gaynor had, and not enough down the fun route.
Whereas Yasmin, who was also kind of vying for the top spot this time, I thought her little set was really lovely. She made a little tank top with a little daisy trim on it, and then this fab little pair of denim skirts.
Yeah.
Which again, she put that daisy trim on.
Very
it just
cute.
looked really nicely coordinated. I could see that being something that you could buy in the shops.
Yeah,
It's just
and I
lovely.
loved how she'd used a bit of shearing that was already on one of the original pieces and kind of incorporated that in, so it's going to be comfy for the kids to move around
that was really
in.
smart move.
Yeah, and makes it fit, which is always
Always a bonus.
Yeah.
So, put on the spot to come up with something in 90 minutes from maternity wear for a toddler, what would you do?
I think I'd go down the kind of leggings, yoga pants route. I think I would have kind of thought about what does my niece, who is about 2.5, wear, and she tends to wear a lot of like stretchy yoga pantsy type things that she can run around in. And then I think maybe more like a tunic top, so maybe a little bit of a flounce, so it kind of feels like they're wearing a dress. They can be all pretty, but it's still practical. And I would have added some patch pockets for her to pick things up, little stones. She's in the stone picking up stage at the moment.
Okay. Well, I think I would have probably done something a bit similar. I would have definitely gone jersey dress.
Yeah.
You've got all that fantastic stretchy fabric. So I think I'd have definitely done something along those lines, maybe with a little kind of flutter sleeve to it,
Ooh,
just
lovely.
to give a little bit of added interest. And just to save any embarrassment running around the garden doing cartwheels, just a little pair of shorts underneath, because there was a lot of really good stretchy maternity trousers. Would have been fantastic just to make a little pair of shorts with those.
Yeah.
So for the final made-to-measure challenge this episode, the sewists were tasked with taking inspiration from their childhood dreams. So they were given 3.5 hours. 3.5 hours.
Really wasn't long.
Really wasn't long. To make a fancy dress costume that would fit a 9-year-old. What did you think of this one?
I thought it was a really interesting challenge to get to know the sewers a bit more. It's always fun to find out what people wanted to be when they were a child, because kids have some weird and wonderful ideas about what they want to be.
Absolutely.
I thought Dan was very ambitious, given the time limit. I loved his idea of being a kind of circus ringmaster. I thought that's a really fun idea, really fun for someone to want to be that as a child.
Yeah.
But when you've only got 3.5 hours and you're going to try and make a pair of trousers, a shirt, and this like
quite a
wonderful
complicated jacket
with the tails, and he wanted to line the tails, and
yeah,
I think he was just so ambitious with it. And
so for a wedding I went to recently, I made a jacket, a shirt, and a pair of trousers, and it took me about 3.5 months.
yeah.
In 3.5 hours, you just don't have the time.
No, and I
to
think
do
Patrick
that much.
commented that his tailors take like 2 days just to make a jacket like that.
Yeah.
And Dan was trying to make a shirt and trousers as well.
Yeah, I love his audacity.
Yeah.
And I feel like had he pulled this off, it would have been one of the best, because I thought that jacket was really cute, and there is something so iconic about that red jacket. You've got that kind of circus leader, Greatest Showman kind of vibes, but he just didn't have enough time to do any of it well.
Yeah, I think had he had more time, it would have been fabulous. But yeah, I think he was just too ambitious with it.
Yeah. So you then had the absolute flip of that, which was Gaynor, who the story was adorable.
It was lovely.
She wanted to be a ballet dancer, and when she was young, she was dressed as a snowdrop and did a little ballet dance. So she very much paid homage to that with her little snowdrop outfit. But it was so simple.
It was. I was just begging her to add some kind of trim or embellishment or something at the end. Yeah. Because she was just sat there and she was finished, and I was like, add some more to it. Or go and help Dan.
I was like, go and help Dan. He'd just do his shirt for him. Yeah. So Yeah, there was a lack of ambition there. What she made, beautifully
it was
sewn.
beautifully sewn.
But the fact that Patrick was like, "You're not going to finish the hem? Oh no, I'm just going to leave it lit." I'm like, it wasn't enough.
No.
For this stage in the competition, they expect more. And I think Gaynor was really lucky that Dan missed the mark so widely, because I think she was definitely up for contention for going this time
I think
round.
it was beautifully sewn, beautifully executed, just not enough for, like you say, this stage in the competition. Now, I absolutely loved Kaz's. I thought it was fantastic. I absolutely loved that she had her little model designing fabric, kind of inspired by Zandra Rhodes designing her own
Everything about
fabric.
that was just so sweet.
The beret was just so fashion designer.
Yeah.
I love the image of Patrick walking around Edinburgh in a beret. It's kind of art student days.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And in the spirit of Sewing Bee name dropping, having met Zandra Rhodes at a craft show years ago, this was so her.
Yeah.
It was just the wildness, the colours, the shape. I just feel like Kaz just seemed so, considering she'd had a bad-ish day before, she was so chill, she was so in control, she was so sweet with the kids, and what she created, it was so much better than everybody else's.
It was fabulous.
So good.
Yeah, and I think she had actually done quite a lot of stuff. You know, we've been talking about Dan being quite ambitious with trying to sew all that stuff, but then when you look at what Kaz had done, she'd sewn quite I think it was like a top and trousers. She'd done the little beret. I think there was like one tiny thing that she hadn't quite finished on the beret or something. The stitching wasn't great
on the edge of the beret, but otherwise...
it was, she was just so calm through the whole challenge. She didn't seem phased, she didn't seem panicked. I think, she did really well. I think she was just really confident in her idea and her plan.
Yeah, I think hers was superb.
Yeah.
Now, another one that I feel like the judges had suggested was in contention for the win was Yasmin's.
Yasmin's was interesting. I think I can see where the judges were coming from in that she'd made a dress and this kind of like almost tailored style jacket. It was neatly sewn. It was... Yeah, you couldn't really fault it.
And even the rosette was really nicely done.
It was very nicely done. Interesting costume for a child.
You've dressed a child as Margaret Thatcher. Is basically what you've done. And I understand that actually was her childhood dream.
Yeah.
But by the same token, the call was for something fun, fancy dress for kids, and it's like, I feel like this was fun for adults to have a laugh at, but I don't feel like this would have been much fun for the kid.
No, I mean, I don't even think I knew what a politician was when I was 9.
No, me neither.
So, definitely one where I can, from a sewing point of view, I can see she's put a lot of work in and it was neatly done and everything. From a brief point of view of a fancy dress costume for a child,
it just wasn't fun.
Yeah.
No, it's a no from me.
Yeah.
The no's have it.
I really liked Stuart's kind of like polar explorer outfit. I thought it was, again, like a really fun kind of idea that he wanted to go and be an Arctic explorer when he was younger. He had the lovely little fur trim. He'd made little mittens. The execution maybe wasn't quite there. Like the mittens, the thumb was about 3 inches too tall.
I think you got the impression that as the more you poked into it, like the fur trim was twisted, things weren't quite.
It was definitely one
right.
that you look at it from far away and it looks great, and then you start to get into it and there's little mistakes here and there. But I think overall it was a fun costume. The kid said he was warm in it, which is what you want for an Arctic explorer.
Exactly.
So I thought that was quite a fun costume.
Now, I think Kit's was, it's a fun costume.
Yes.
I really like the inspiration there. So Kit wanted to be a singer when they were young, and their inspiration for this was Elton John, and very specifically that first Elton John gig. If you've seen the Elton John film, that's kind of there. Taron Egerton in that front and foremost, and it was cute, but I don't feel like I wasn't getting superstar energy from it. I think it was a nice idea of Kit to make the dungarees adaptive.
Yes.
But I feel like Kit made dungarees in 90 minutes and won the made to measure, won the pattern challenge. But these ones in 3.5 hours didn't fit the model well enough. Yeah,
the strap was kind of falling off, and I think maybe some more kind of embellishments or trim.
It just
something. I mean, Elton John is
so extra.
Yeah,
I mean,
a feather boa.
That kind of that blue spandex long sleeve kind of t-shirt
like sparkling
was really cool. Yeah, it's just a shame that the straps didn't fit.
Yeah.
The iron on, it's like sew them on. Sew them on. But it was nice. It wasn't quite wow enough.
Yeah, I think they'd spent a lot of time on making the dungarees neat, and then they ran out of time at the end to fix those straps and maybe add some extra bits.
And I always think in the made to measure, making it to measure and that perfect fit is what they're looking for. So I always feel like Kit sometimes misses out on the top spot there, but I think just that little bit of extra fitting and maybe they'd be up there.
I thought Orla's beekeeper outfit was really cute.
such a unusual,
random,
unusual dream to have.
Yeah, but very cute. Like, she'd made this little white jumpsuit. She had this like little yellow trim. She had a bit of embroidery and like a little patch on the back of the bee. And then she'd made this cute hat with the mesh, which I think just really sets it off and makes you immediately see that's a beekeeper costume. Can't speak. I thought it was really cute. But then again, similar to Stuart's, when you got into it, there was little bits like the top of her zip. I think there was like a bit of a raw edge or something.
I think what was unfortunate with Orla's was that yellow drew your eye to all the bits that didn't quite match up right. I feel like if the finish had been bang on with all those elements, this would have been in contention for me for the top. Yeah. But I understand that there were some bits didn't. But the whole kind of beekeeper hood, that embroidery, there was some lovely touches on this one. I thought she did a great job.
So, thinking about childhood dream jobs, what did you want to be when you were little?
I mean, when I was young, I had quite the list of things that I wanted to be. Author, architect, archaeologist,
all the A's.
All the A's. But I also wanted to be to work in magazines. I loved magazines. Did work in magazines. So I thought I would take inspiration from that and make a cute little Anna Wintour outfit. So I think this is one where a little wig and some sunglasses would be doing a lot of the hard work here. But for this, I picked out this pattern, which is Simplicity 3015, which I think it's an adorable little option for a girl's top or dress. It's got, I love the version with the long sleeves that kind of gathered into an elasticated cuff. But what I really like about it is this kind of twisted bow detail at the front.
Esme would love that.
Exactly. I'm like, well, let's tick 2 boxes and get a bow in there for Esme as well. So for this one, I've gone with an absolute classic, one of our most popular fabrics at Minerva. And this is our classic Duchess satin. So I think if you want to make something that feels a bit special, special occasion wear, something that catches the light nicely, I think this would be fantastic. So I think for particularly that bow detail on the front, this would just kind of hold that detail. If I had time, I might then add a bit of kind of diamante detail to the bow just to kind of draw some extra attention to that. Maybe make some trims into a bit of a statement necklace. But let's be realistic, 3.5 hours, not a whole lot of time. I think I'd mainly focus on just the dress.
Yeah, very nice.
So what's your childhood dream inspiration?
So similar to you, I had a bit of a long list from things that you could actually be, like a vet, or I think I wanted to be an author as well, to things that you definitely couldn't be, like a fairy. But when I was a child, I remember watching Steve Irwin, Crocodile Hunter, and I used to think it would be so cool to go to Australia and just start picking up wild animals by the tail. Didn't end up doing that, weirdly enough, because I am terrified of spiders.
It seems like a major issue.
It probably would be, because they do have some big spiders over there. But I've picked out McCall's 8462, which is this kind of, you've got like a dress pattern or a shirt and shorts, and it's this kind of classic, kind of like khaki jungle kind of vibe.
It's giving that kind of safari suit kind of vibes.
Yeah, I think I definitely would have had to made a hat with some corks
down,
just for the proper Steve Irwin vibes. So I picked out our core range 100% cotton twill in this good khaki colour, so the crocodiles wouldn't see me coming. So this is a nice durable fabric. Again, it's not too heavy. And yeah, I think that would just be really fabric for a cool little like jungle explorer kind of
And I think
outfit.
that would have read really well on the runway. I think it'd be very clear what your inspiration was. Good choice. So garment of the week this week was Kaz. Do you agree?
Definitely. I think even before they'd announced it, I thought it has to be Kaz. It has to be that super cool Sandra Rhodes outfit. The judges could not really fault it. It was really well sewn, it was ambitious, it was fun. So I think a very well deserved garment of the week.
I 100% agree. I feel like this was the 1 week where there could be no other winner. I think Kaz totally met the brief, and it was just an absolute joy of a garment, which I think is what you want in Kids Week. You want it to be fun, and she absolutely nailed it. So that updates our leaderboard then of where everyone is standing. So let's take a look at the stats. So now, in terms of the pattern challenge, Kit had another win this week. So that means that Kit has won 5 pattern challenges and Kaz has won 1. So those two are definitely the kings and queens of pattern challenge.
Definitely.
Even though Kaz stumbled this week, I think absolutely they're both up there.
Yeah.
Now, Transformation Challenge has been a lot more varied. Kit has now won 3 times. Orla has won once this week. Kaz has won once, and Dan won once as well. But for the all-important garment of the week, Kaz is now top of the leaderboard with 3 wins for Design Icons Week, Korean Week, and Kids Week. And then you've got Orla, Dan, and Peter, who've both now been eliminated, all with 1 win each. So, got to feel that at this point, Kaz is in a very strong position.
Yes, definitely, yeah. I think we're starting to see maybe some of the sewers are kind of starting to fall behind a little bit.
Yeah, it does feel like the likes of Gaynor and Stewart are clinging in there by their fingertips a bit. But I do think that Kit, Kaz, Orla, even Yasmin, I think all of them have still got that potential there. And it all comes down to how well you do each individual week.
Definitely. We're at that stage in the competition now that one bad week can just throw you. I think we're also at that stage where it's really sad to see people go. I mean, it's sad to see people go any week, but we've seen the creativity over the course of about 4 or 5 weeks now of these people. I was really sad to see Dan go this week.
He was so much fun.
Yeah.
He brought a lot of creativity to the competition.
Yeah.
He brought a dinosaur shirt to the competition, which, bonus points. It's a shame he's gone, but, onwards, upwards, and excited to see what happens next week.
Yeah. So that's it for episode 6 of Sewing Bee. Let us know what you thought. Head to the comments and tell us, did you think the right garment won garment of the week? Do you think the right sewer was sent home? Who are you rooting for a place in the final? Because I think we're really starting to see different skills, different sewers are starting to take the edge now. So let us know what you think in the comments below. If you've done any sewing for kids, if you've been inspired to sew anything for kids, we would love to see your kids' makes because they're always super cute. So head over to Minerva, create yourself a free profile if you haven't already, and start sharing all your kids' makes and everything else that you've made, whether it's inspired by Sewing Bee or not. Now, next week is Art Week, which
I am looking forward to
I'm
this one.
very excited about. They've done Art Week once before and I absolutely loved it. So next week we're seeing a Grace and Perry inspired baby doll dress.
That's going to be out there.
Definitely. They are transforming painters' overalls, and I was really interested to see what they do with kind of these paint splattered garments.
I think that could be a really good one.
Yeah, and then they've got, I'm really excited about this, a pop art inspired made to measure. I cannot wait to see what they make for all these pop art inspired garments. So if you've enjoyed the video today, please give us a like and a subscribe so you don't miss any of our future videos, and we will be back next week to discuss Art Week.